3DS might get a lot of love and attention nowadays, but sadly, even nowadays, one of these games that so many people still seem to dislike is Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon. This game is a masterpiece, and I'll argue that forever. This game has been so much fun. I've beaten all of the Luigi's Mansion games over the past few months, but Dark Moon was so enjoyable. I can't say I enjoyed as much as 3, but it was so much fun. All the different ghost designs, including the bosses, were all interesting and unique, and I thought they were a lot more fun to face off against compared to the first game. The new additions to the Poltergeist 5000 were really cool. King Boo was much more threatening in this game, the soundtrack was a lot more memorable, and there were 5 different mansions, and I didn't mind the mission structure. So today I'm going to be talking about this, because this is easily one of my favorite games ever. Even if I haven't spent too much time on it, I've just been having so much fun with the game. And today I'm going to rank all the bosses, and later on I'll be making all the missions. Starting off with number 8 is the Brain, the only boss in the game that is just incredibly forgettable. But then again, he's not even a main boss. He's basically found at the end of the Scarescraper mode, whether you're going for 5, 10, or 25 force. He's basically just a large poltergeist, with the only thing making him more challenging is the other ghost appearing and the fact that you have to find him in a treasure chest first, but he really isn't a struggle at all. Aside from that, the actual Scarescraper mode himself that you face off against him in is a lot of fun though. And I really like the red coin aspect of it and being able to get upgrades from the money to help make sucking up ghosts easier. And I wish those two things were in 3D were in Luigi's Mansion 3 Scarescraper mode. Anyways, number 7 is the Haunted Staircase. This is easily my least favorite boss in the main story mode, the Dark Moon quest. And why is that, you may ask? Well, you face off against him in the Haunted Towers, and after climbing 20 flights of randomized stairs, which is as annoying as that sounds, you face off against this guy, and he is incredibly easy. Basically, it's just a big staircase that barks at you and spits flames. Now, the boss itself is pretty easy, but that's not my main issue with it. My issue is that with a boss fight we were facing off against stairs sounds super creative and a lot of potential, but there's nothing like that in the fight at all. All he does is shoot fire at you, and you gotta pull on the rope that he spits out. That's like a tongue. He looks pretty creepy, but you don't do things like climb him or avoid planks of wood that he shoots at you. Nothing like that at all. And overall, it's just a very forgettable fight. Chasing the harsh possessor after was more challenging. Yeah. Number 6 is Boolossus. Alright, Dark Moon may have some bosses that aren't that memorable, but the rest of them on the list are super fun, and I love them a lot. Number 6 is Boolossus. Boolossus is one of the last bosses you fight in the game, and he's the first one you face off against in Treacherous Mansion, which is not only my favorite mansion, but also the mansion with the most bosses. Basically, Boolossus is made up of 10 boos, and what you gotta do is fling them into the train. It's not only cool that you gotta shoot boos into a train, but also, if you've been catching boos throughout the game beforehand, like I have, it makes the fight a whole lot easier, because now you understand, you've had your practice and your training. So once you fling enough boos into it, all 10 of them into the train, you'll have defeated Boolossus, but you also gotta shoot him into the train's drill, which can be pretty tricky to nail off the timing. It's overall a very interesting fight, and overall, I think it's better than the Boolossus fight from the 3rd game, and certainly a lot better than from the 1st. And it's just a lot of fun here. Number 5 is the Belfry Clock. The Belfry Clock is an enemy gauntlet, 12 times, and 3 of those times, you gotta hunt down the Possessor Ghost. That might not sound very interesting, but every time it's something new. Sometimes there'll be annoying bugs, sometimes there'll be bombs that ignite once you hit them with the strobe bulb. Sometimes there'll even be mummies, which is a lot of fun. It's an interesting fight, and I love the top-down perspective. This is also where you face against the Overset Possessor. It's a pretty fun fight, and although it isn't one of my top favorites, I do think that being an enemy gun works really well here, and it's a great close-off for old clockworks. Number 4 is the Spider Queen. The Spider Queen is the first boss in the game, and many people seem to consider it their favorite and say that the bosses get worse after her. However, I don't think that's true at all, but this is still a very fun fight. Basically, what you need to do during the whole fight is figure out how to light her cobwebs on fire. Once you do that, the Possessor Ghost will reveal himself. This time the Grouchy Possessor, and you gotta defeat him. It's pretty interesting, and it doesn't just stay the same thing, the patterns. Sometimes you have to carry a cobweb and avoid falling pillars and the goo that she spits out, the Spider Queen, as well as their mini spiders, and sometimes you'll have to spin around a web on a ceiling fan so that it can ignite from one night to another. It's very interesting. And Dark Moon starts off fantastic with a boss as good as this one is. They really took the idea of a generic spider, made it something truly special. Number 3 is the Ice Monster. Now, the Ice Monster is where you fight the Shrewd Possessor at the end of Secret Mine, and many people hate it. Why? Well, because it's a shooter in Luigi's Mansion game, and a tricky one at that. Basically, you have to get rid of all the ice shards, and more appear as you go on through the battle. If you don't do that, your bomb sled will either overheat, or you're gonna have to repeat the phase, which, yeah, is pretty annoying if you miss the shot into the mouth. However, what makes this fight so fun is that it really does come down to skill. It's not luck at all. You have to determine how fast the ice monster is moving and how far away it is. And when you shoot the bomb into its mouth, you really have to get the right timing. And then the Possessor Ghost comes down, and you can take it down. The Shrewd Possessor. It's overall so much fun, and I can see why people wouldn't like this, since it is a pretty risky idea for a boss fight, but that's what makes it so much fun. They took an idea like this that you took from the previous mission in Secret Mine, where you gotta shoot hot coals on the gondola, and expanded it into something not only challenging, but rewarding. It was a very fun fight, and that's how it made it into the top 3. And this guy just looks creepy. Number 2 is the Giga Knight. But what's even creepier is the Giga Knight. The Giga Knight comes from the second to last mission, and this is where Luigi enters the paranormal portal, where you're in this creepy dimension where even the pixelator can't get you out of. Basically, when you first face off against the final possessor here, the tough possessor, and he has the last argument piece, he has 5 horns, which are pretty tricky to avoid. And what you need to do is see the 2 knights and have them slam their axes into the ground and swipe both of them up at once while they're on the carpet, which you learned in a previous mission, a treacherous mansion. And if you mess it up, well, one of the knights is gonna bring back another one, which can be tricky. You do this again with 3 knights, which is trickier, but then for the final phase, which is just incredible, he takes out 2 giant feet, and he grows humongous, hundreds of feet tall, the Possessive Ghost, this huge knight. And you gotta look out for the sword he slams on the ground, and make sure both of his feet are on the carpet, and you gotta swipe both of them, and he'll stumble, and then he'll fall, and you'll get him. Every time you chase the Possessor Ghost, even here, the tough Possessor really is tough, because you'll split up into different Possessors with less horns, but still be challenging. It's a very awesome fight, and although it's a bit short, it is still very cinematic and fun to face off against. Number 1 has gotta be King Boo. King Boo feels like an actual threat in this game, something, yeah, he wishes he could have done in the original game. Why is that, you may ask? Well, he'll appear several times throughout the game, such as you see him flying by in Secret Mine. He'll flash when the lightning happens, when Luigi first enters and opens the door to Treacherous Mansion, the front door. And then you'll even see him on the surveillance tape. And when you face off against him, it will spike balls, and you need to make them land on his head when he slams into the ground. I also really like what he did with his eyes. It looks like he's wearing 5 o'clock shadow. Then he'll chase you through the hallways, and it's super challenging because you gotta avoid night, you gotta avoid like drawers and stuff, and you're in the middle of like this creepy haunted house. He's chasing you down through the hallways in this creepy corridor, and it reminds me of the beginning of Gloomy, and in the middle of this crazy dimension. The music is great, and when you finally beat King Boo, after going through 3 different phases, you finally save Mario, you save all the ghosts of Evershade Valley, and it's overall just a super fun boss fight. So, there you have it. Those are all the bosses of the Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon ranked. A lot of people might not like this game, but I will love it forever. It just has fantastic music, fantastic missions, fantastic mansions, and overall it's just very fun, and I think a lot better than the first game. Thank you for watching. See you next time.